It's nominations once again. Put your hand up if you think most nominations should be face to face. I'm sick of this shitebag shit. Celebrity Big Brother episode 10. Let's just get this out the way again. I am so sick of people saying that Chris and Jojo are flirting or in a romantic relationship or whatever. To me, that's just a normal friendship. He knows that she only likes women, so there's nothing there. Okay, maybe he fancies her, maybe he doesn't. But at the end of the day, to me, it is absolutely normal. And I've seen a video earlier of somebody saying, oh, they've took their relationship to the next level. They're sleeping in the same bed. Who gives a fuck? Have you never slept in the same bed as your friend? Like, we're adults here. We're not 12-year-olds like, oh, I'm going to sleep in the same bed as a boy. What the fuck is going on? I'm sure her partner's at home watching and thinking, oh, they're just friends. She's not interested in him. What's the big deal? It's literally a friendship. Let's move on for this. We're going to get to nominations in a minute, but quite a lot of people were nominating Daly, saying that he was lazy, didn't cook, didn't help with the washing, or didn't do anything. And Patsy said to him something about cooking, and he says, oh, I don't cook. And she says, would you like to learn? And I was laughing because Mickey thought she was a shite cook, and a few other people have mentioned it as well. Well, a few other people, as in they were saying that her broccoli wasn't nice, but that doesn't mean to say that she can't cook. At least she's trying. Donna was playing tricks on the housemates, and when they were coming into the living room, she was like chopping vegetables or whatever and then pretending to cut her hand with ketchup all over it. Now, I know people who would literally pass out if they seen even the slightest bit of blood. Imagine that happened. That'd have been hilarious. Now, I don't know if I got the gist of this conversation right, let me know in the comments, but I'm pretty sure somebody said if you were going to be in a plane crash, would you try it once more with your partner? I don't know if they were talking about like try it on as in like go with them, right? And Chesney said no, something like that nearly happened, and he was talking about like when the plane nearly crashed that he was on. And I thought to myself, no, that would be literally the very last thing on your mind. Let me know in the comments if that's what he was asked. So it was time for nominations, and that Chesney nominated Chris and Jojo because he says that they're whispering at night and they're being quite childlike. And while I actually don't think they're annoying, I don't have to live with them. If I had to hear people whispering at night, I'd be like that. Shut the fuck up. I'm trying to sleep. If you want to talk, fuck off into the living room. I don't know if they lock the bedroom door, but you'd at least say something if it was annoying you. Right, quite a few people nominated Patsy, so if I say they nominated Patsy, then this is the reason. Basically, they're saying she's been very negative, she's like sucking the energy out the house, she's hard to speak to, and Jojo was talking about how negative she was. And then later on, you see her talking to Patsy in the bathroom, and she says, oh, this is going in really quick, like we've only got so many days left, and Patsy was saying, oh, it's like really dragging in. And she was walking out and she's like, oh, it's really like, and then she just walked out, and Jojo was talking to the camera, and she's like, see, Big Brother, like that's the vibe I'm talking about. So she's obviously making everybody feel really drained. Quite a few people also nominated Daly, basically for the same reasons. He doesn't cook, he doesn't wash up, he doesn't really help around the house. And later when he was in talking to Big Brother says, oh, do you cook at home? And he says, no, I just do the basics, like maybe I like cereal, I have cereal like 3 times a day. And he says, oh, people are really accepting me here. So he's obviously not realising that there's a problem, but they all think he's a fucking lazy bastard. Angelica voted for Patsy and Daly, but the reason she gave for Daly was that he gives like kind of snide comments, or he makes comments about the way people are feeling in a jokey way, but she thinks he's being serious and she doesn't really like it. Jack nominated Ella and Angelica. He says that Ella doesn't help with anything in the house, like she doesn't do dishes or anything, and every time he talks to Angelica, it's just a very serious conversation, and he has been saying that since day one. Danny nominated Jack and Patsy, and again, the same reason that he's gave for Jack for day one. He's always winding people up, and he thinks the house is already got enough pressure as it is without adding that on. Daly nominated Jojo and Chris, and while I prefer Jojo over Chris, while I like the two of them, I totally agree with this. He was saying rules are there for a reason, especially Big Brother rules overall. Yes! I must admit that if I was in that house and I was really good friends with somebody and they broke a rule once, and it was maybe an accident because we all make mistakes, but if they then broke a rule twice and I was really close to that person, I would consider nominating them as well. Now, let me just say, if I ever end up in the Big Brother house and I break any rules by accident or not, can we just like pretend these videos don't exist? Thanks. Chris nominated Patsy and Daly. Donna nominated Daly and Jack. She nominated Daly because he snores. This is one of the things I'm worried about. Like, if I ever go into the Big Brother house, I snore. And you know what? I'm the first person to complain about other people doing it. When she's nominated Jack before, she said that he wears too much aftershave. And in last night's episode, you seen him putting the aftershave on. Literally, I don't know how many sprays he does. It was all over the place. And then plus he wears 3 scents a day. That would be too much. But tonight, she nominated him because every time he makes tea, he uses 2 tea bags. And I really don't think there's a need for that. That would annoy me as well. I would say, we're on basic rations. We've got hardly anything. And you're using 2 tea bags per cup. Like, maybe do that with your own tea. But don't do it with everybody else's. But the thing is, they're saying he drinks about 20 cups a day. And I don't think they're exaggerating. I would be pissed off as well if somebody used 2 tea bags. Well, to be fair, I don't drink tea, but that's not the point. He's using up all the fucking tea. I can tell you this for certain though. If I was in there, people would nominate me. See if we had a limited budget and we had hardly any salt. And they'd be like, that bitch is using all the salt. Whoops. Jojo nominated Patsy and Danny. And when she nominated Danny, she says, oh, this is not somebody that you would expect me to nominate because we're both LGBT and blah, blah, blah. And you think that I would nominate Daly. But that was a bit of a weird statement to me because that wouldn't even cross my mind. I get what she's saying, like they should have more in common or whatever, but it's just not something that I would think, do you know what I mean? Basically, she was saying that when she first went into the house they were close and now she feels that there's a distance between them. Patsy nominated Daly and Angelica and she says that Angelica can be quite snappy. Ella nominated Patsy and Jack. She just says that she doesn't really know that much about Jack other than he puts 2 tea bags in his tea. So Patsy and Daly are up for nomination and Daly is doing my fucking nutting. Because Patsy was saying, oh, like people were crying and she's like, don't cry for me if it's for me, like don't feel bad, I'm not bothered. And he was like, oh, I'm not bothered either. So then him and Patsy were talking and she says, oh, is it bad that I'm not feeling bad? And he's like, no, it's because other people want to win more than we do. We're not bothered. Other people are in here to win. What the fuck? It does my head in. He's just convinced that Jojo and Chris are in there to win because, oh, that's their job. They're social media people or they go on reality TV. This is their job. They're here to win. He's just got a fucking attitude about it. They were playing Never Have I Ever and they said, never have I ever been rude to a fan. And he says that he was because he was practising something and a wee boy came up and asked for his signature. And he says, no, I can't now because obviously he's like in the zone, right, like a sports person. And he's like, please, and he says no. So then years later, he says he met him. And he says, oh, you told me to fuck off. And he says, I don't think I did. It turned out it was David Beckham. Right, so this was confusing, right? They says, never have I ever had a celebrity in my DMs or whatever. And Ella says, oh, I have, and it's a juicy one because they're married. So Patsy says, oh, no, don't say anything, like, don't say that on TV, like, you might regret it in the morning or whatever. And Ella was like, to Danny, I think it was, oh, I didn't message them back, right? Like, as if like it's not a big deal. And then she later said, I mean, he wasn't married at the time. So how's it juicy? She's changing her story. It was very weird. Danny, Daly, Jojo and another couple of people were talking about actors in films. And Danny was basically saying that if somebody's disabled in a film, it should be played by a disabled person. Which I don't agree with. I think it should be the best person for the part. But by all means, if somebody's disabled and they want to apply for that role, then fine. Like, look at all the roles in the past that's been played by people who aren't disabled, like What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and a lot of other amazing films. Let me know what you think of that in the comments. Anyway, overall, it was just about nominations, and Late and Live was a bit crap, to be honest. I'm trying to get to 10,000 followers, so consider following me, and if you know anybody else that likes to talk about Big Brother, consider sharing. Let me know who you think will go, Patsy or Daly. I actually think Daly might go. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye!